Thanks for being here today, and thank you, Eric Cullum, for allowing us to be here today, joining small business owners for Begich and hosting this event in their shop today. This is a group of small business owners. We have over 50 across the state that have joined business owners for Begich. During the current economic crisis, Alaskans are looking for new leadership that puts Alaska's families first and foremost, leadership that understands the challenges of small business owners that they face every single day. Now, I started my first business when I was 16 in high school. Since then, I've owned and operated many businesses. Some fared well, some not so well. And I remember the 1980s when Alaska's economy took a nosedive. I remember the half a dozen banks that closed. I remember how hard it was to get a loan or any small amount of capital to open up a business. Today, our country is facing similar challenges. It is outrageous to see Alaska families and small businesses left holding the bag for 8 years of reckless, failed economic policies of the Bush administration. It's outrageous that Wall Street CEOs are passing on the results of their recklessness while also getting multi-million-dollar golden parachutes. Although we have absolutely need to take action to get our economy back on track, we need to be paying more attention to the needs of hard-working, everyday Alaskans, seniors, homeowners, small businesses instead of Wall Street. Some good steps are included in the current rescue bill, but more should be done. Today I want to focus on key initiatives to help Alaska small businesses. Alaska small businesses are the backbone of our prosperous Alaska economy. They create more jobs than any other sector, good jobs based in our communities, not overseas. I'm proud that my wife, Deborah, has built a 30-employee business, starting from a small salmon cart, selling salmon in a small cart in the downtown streets of Anchorage. I understand that small businesses are not just small-sized, big businesses, but they face unique challenges and hurdles to being successful. I understand that small businesses are not looking for big tax loopholes or government handouts. They just want to be able to have the opportunity to be successful. However, helping small business is truly, in my view, a smart investment. Let me list out a few of the things in the initiative that I put forward. First, we will have to help small businesses who are struggling to provide health care to their employees. Too many have to choose between offering health insurance or closing their businesses. With rising health care costs, this problem has become even more acute. My plan will allow small businesses to buy into the same health care system that members of Congress have. Or it could also create new incentives, which I hope to propose, for states to help small businesses and nonprofits to create purchasing pools to get cheaper health insurance. Second, we have to help small businesses cut their energy costs. Today's skyrocketing prices are squeezing even the best small business people. Alaska has great opportunities to transition to cheaper natural gas and renewable energy sources. And I would create a new federal loan program to make sure Alaska's small businesses can take advantage of these new sources. We also need to help businesses switch to new, clean energy technologies. Arctic wire and rope, the building we're in today, the business we are in today, is a great example of what one business can do to cut their costs by doing energy retrofits. This is one way that small businesses can deal with a very challenging environment of rising energy costs. Eric did this on his own and made sure he made it work for his business. But there are many businesses that don't have the ready capital to make that happen. More companies can clearly do this with just a little bit of money and a little bit of capital that they can borrow to make these retrofits. 3, we need to simplify the cumbersome 1.4 million word tax code. I was amazed when I actually put that number down. It is amazing when you think of the amount of documents you have to do to fill out to be a small business person and deal with taxes. We have to cut taxes on small businesses, encourage new investment, and inspire Alaskan entrepreneurs. My wife Deborah and I know firsthand how frustrating and time-consuming it is to file the tax returns for businesses. We need to simplify the record-keeping and expensing requirements for small businesses so they can focus not on paperwork, but on growing their businesses and creating employment and jobs for their community. We also need to provide tax relief and new tax credits and incentives to help small businesses and entrepreneurs succeed. This should include the permanent relief of alternative minimum tax, otherwise known as the stealth tax. This will hit over 43,000 Alaskans next year if it's not permanently taken care of. Again, given today's economic crisis, we must also make sure that the small business owners and entrepreneurs have access to credit. I support expanded reduced fee loans and increased funding for the Small Business Administration so that small businesses can continue to grow and create jobs. There's more detail available on our website, Begich.com, and these are just a few ideas to support Alaska businesses. As mayor, I've done a couple things. One, eliminated the tax burden of the small businesses for thousands of small businesses by eliminating personal business inventory tax that many had to pay. We also have done many opportunities and workshops that centered around businesses to exchange ideas and how they can grow their businesses. This is a record, as well as these ideas, that I want to take to the U.S. Senate. If I'm fortunate enough to earn the votes of Alaskans, I will be one of the only few small business owners serving in the United States Senate. Matter of fact, when I was traveling recently, a couple business people came up to me and they said, "We want to support you for that simple reason, that someone who has had to raise capital, employ people, work day to day to make sure they can meet payroll, had successes as well as failures, and learned a great deal about small businesses." That's an advantage that I think is necessary for a U.S. Senator to have, to understand what people are going through every single day when they want to build their business, build their dream. And so it is going to be a pleasure for me to be one of those few, and I mean few, in the Senate who truly understand the small business world, because I have lived it. Before I move on, let me introduce, if I can, I'd like to introduce Eric McCollum, who is the building we're in today, the business we're in today, Art Wire and Road. Eric?
I want to take a look at maybe from 1,000 feet or 5,000 feet, just a broad general kind of business view, I think. Regardless if you're a Democrat or a Republican, we can all say that Senator Stevens has done a great job for us in the past, and we couldn't have asked any more than we got. But the landscape forward is changing. I think we can all look just at the last couple of weeks to understand that. And I think in order to meet the challenge of the future, we can't be looking at what's been done in the past. We have to be looking at doing things differently. I think the 2 points that I think are very important that I think people need to consider is Senator Stevens is 84 years old, so either we're going to be making a change now or very soon. The other thing is that I think if you're paying attention and you're looking at the odds, there's a shift that's happening in politics right now. I think at the presidential level and as well as the congressional level, that it's turning more Democratic. So if we want to continue to have our influence by the state of Alaska and going future, I think it's only wise to see that, you know, that Mark is going to be the one that's going to be able to maintain that for Alaska. And even if I can use an analogy, if you're saying like you want to have a diversified portfolio, and we're seeing this week how important that is. Well, just in case I am wrong, you know, and it doesn't go totally Democratic, we have Lisa Murkowski as a Republican, so I think we should have Mark Begich as our Democrat to diversify our portfolio. Thanks.
Let me ask now Perry Merkel, who is a small business owner, also owns a great coffee shop. And I just asked him, is it good in the summer or is it good in the winter? And he basically said this summer was good, which meant he liked it that it was raining. So, Perry?
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, my name is Perry Merkel. I'm the owner of Cafe Del Mundo. In a couple of months, it will be 34 years since I've been to Alaska. That's a fair amount of time. Certainly, there's many other people who have lived here a lot longer. Mayor Begich is certainly one of those people. Over those 34 years, I've known Mayor Begich, well, I guess before then it was just Mark Begich, for a good many of those years. And I've certainly seen him grow and be so involved with the community here as a community activist, organizer, certainly, and then growing into the assembly, and certainly as mayor. I think he's done a great job in that time, over these years, that he has certainly earned my respect, my trust, and certainly more currently, he's going to get my vote. He does, like I said, he's gained my respect, my trust, my confidence. This is a very, very important time with going forward here. And as Eric said, I have many of the same feelings. And Mark, I think, will be able, I feel very confident that he will take us down that road that will help give us a diversified leadership and for business as well as every other Alaskan out there. So with that, and I have to add, there was no collusion here. The one thing, Mark said some nice things about my business. However, Mark being a non-coffee drinker, I still have all that respect for him in spite of that.
This is true. Perry can never understand when I come by his place and his folks there say, well, what kind of coffee? And I say, well, I'll just get a juice or something. And they look at me always very odd, like it's a coffee shop. But great small businesses. And when you think of these small businesses here, we're in one today, Perry's Place and many others. We have over 50 small business people who have joined business people from North Begich. They're concerned about the future of Alaska. You just heard a couple of indications of that. And I like that phrase that you both have used, to diversify in our portfolio of Alaska in Congress is important. Because Alaskans who serve in the U.S. Senate, it is about Alaska first. It's not about being a Democrat, being a Republican, being an independent, there's a couple of those there too. It's really about making sure that Alaska families are fully represented back there on the issues. And again, being a small business person, you have a different perspective in life because you understand what it's like when you open these doors early in the morning, wondering who the customers will be and who will be coming through. And then when you turn on the news and you see the economic crisis in this country and how it will impact your businesses, it's the first thing that goes through your mind. It's a call I had today, and I was talking to another small business person whose the majority of his business is done through Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. 90% of his business, and it's a monthly charge that goes on. What he found out today was they're going to be a little longer moving that cash from when it's charged to his bank account. They're holding it a little longer because of this crisis, because these large corporations are in cash crunch. And that's a dangerous signal because the big companies can survive. It's the small businesses that have to have that cash flow to pay their payroll, pay their utility bills, pay their inventory. And these are the kind of things we don't recognize right off the bat. We see right underneath the layering of this crisis we're in, that many of the small businesses, or if they're seasonal businesses, many of our Alaska businesses that are tourism businesses, that are finishing out for the season, but now have to carry themselves into January, February, March. A lot's done to do lines of credit. The question will be, can they get the lines of credit? Be able to make it through the next spring when their seasonal business comes into play. Because what a lot of these folks do in the seasonal businesses, they keep a core staff online, rather than let them all be laid off because they want to keep a good core staff as they move forward. So it's going to be an interesting time and a very challenging time. I do believe with, again, my experience as a small business person, public policy, we'll be able to meet these challenges head on. But as the two speakers said, it is truly time that we need to move forward as a state to deal with not only our challenges, but these great national challenges. Let me finish there and see if there are any questions from the folks that are here. If not, we'll just break. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for letting us come into your place of business, and I love your prop.